Greetings from the county line. This is another one of our unexpected pleasures today. I'm out here in the shop and my grandson stopped by on his way home from work to visit a little bit. I say grandson because I've only got one. He's got two female cousins and two sisters, so life's been challenging so far. Anyway, Grant, since the two or three people that might, like your mother,
Hi,
who may
everybody.
tend to listen to this, may tend to listen to this thing, don't know who you are, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hi everybody, my name is Grant Robb. Right now I'm an apprentice, for technically an electrician, but it's called telecommunications. 20 years old and, young, having fun. Came here to see my grandpa. It's a great day.
It's a great day. It's a great day.
It's beautiful out.
It's always a great day when you come by. Well, can you go into a little more detail about this program that you're in? You were in college for a year.
Yes. I guess we'll start with the program. Let's go all the way back. So first, when I graduated out of high school, I was really unsure of what I wanted to do. There were a whole bunch of options, and it seemed like, I needed to choose something immediately. I talked with my parents, talked with people around me, and they all told me, not all, but everybody was pushing towards college. Everybody wanted me to go to college. So I signed up, and I found, a major that was somewhat interesting to me, computer science. I'd taken a couple classes, and the classes I'd taken in high school, they were fun. And then when I got to college, those classes as well, they were super fun. But when it got down to sitting at my computer, just typing for hours and hours, I was sitting there, I was like, is this really what I'm doing all day? I ended up getting an IT job where I was answering phone calls, and, I'd get back to my dorm and I'd feel like I had done nothing all day, just very bored with the things I was doing. It's not that it wasn't challenging, it's just that, I wasn't putting my hands to work, and that's kind of what I felt like I seemed to later realize that I enjoyed doing. I had worked past jobs doing manual labor, but it never really stuck out to me as anything other than a summer job. And after about a year of college, at the end of the semester, I was like, man, I'm really either going to have to, put my foot in, and actually step up and do this, or I can step out now, and get out of this and choose something that is maybe better with my time and with my grandparents' money. So I dropped out. And that summer, I ended up working at a place called Clifford Signs. It was a good job. I really enjoyed it. It was just a shop job. And I got encouragement from the people around me to, try and sign up for the electrician program. I went online, just typed in IBEW to my local.
What's that stand for?
International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers.
Okay.
But I signed up through that online and then waited about a month or two, and they called me up, and they were asking me if I wanted to come down and take a test. So first I had to go down there, take a test, and in the middle of that, I ended up getting a job for the union. They signed me on to work at a solar plant for a bit, and that was really good pay. It was one of the first times of me experiencing electrical work and, the pay that could come out of it, because we'd work Saturdays, get double pay, they'd give us incentive pay, And it was really not a lot of time, that I'd be left with at the end of the week, but the paycheck that I'd end up seeing, was just so much more worth it to me. And
Well, you got a strong work ethic anyway.
And that goes a bit on what I was saying earlier, where, when I went home, I felt like I had done something, and I could, be lazy when I got home, do kind of really whatever I wanted to do without feeling so bad about it, compared to earlier when I'd do it. I'd be like, now I'm doing this. I should really be, off doing something else. I should be off doing this. So it's made me more content with my free time.
You didn't mind being a little lazy, non-productive then, after a really productive...
No, and I still kind of get on myself about it, but that's when I've been lazy for a bit. I feel like everybody does that.
Sure. You owe it to yourself.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I took the test, waited a couple months, and then found out that I had gotten in. I had to wait till like December for me to officially start, and that's when they threw me into the ringer. They put me out on jobs, and so far it's been a really good experience. I started in December. It's May now, so about, like 5 months, almost 6 months. And it's a lot of the people I've been working with, they all want to help me, and they all understand, the place that I've been, where I'm young and barely know anything. So they'll all come in, ask to help and try and see what I need to help understand it, which has been huge.
Good mentors.
Yeah. There are some rude people, but that's expected. You got to kind of have a hard ass to...
Is this a formal training program that you're going through?
I'm going through classes. Right now I'm just taking one summer class, but once summer ends, that's when I'm going to be taking actual classes where they'll be training me how to do everything properly. And it's not that I'm not being trained how to do things properly, but I'll have books for these things, and I'll be in a lab doing it instead of on a job
now,
site.
It's kind of under supervision,
yes,
right?
And it's what I do is put into a building.
How long does this training program last?
With mine, it is going to be 3 years for the telecom. With electricians, they do 4 years, and right now they get paid $3 extra than me once I top out. And with my line of work, I will be doing lower voltage work than an electrician would do, but I'll also be inside a lot more, working on... A lot of the work we do is for things like TVs, security cameras, fire alarms, and stuff like door controls, like automatic doors. And it's different than from electricians, where they're working on the lights and the outlets and all that, breakers. And that stuff, it's a bit higher voltage to where it, if it zaps you, it'd probably take you out. So.
And when you were working on the solar farm, that was all outside work.
Yes, that was easier than what I'm doing now, but it was a lot of walking, they'd push like a quota on us. That job was a lot bigger than the jobs I'm at now, where it's, me working for a boss, and they're just telling me what to do. That job was more me working for the company, and they'd be trying to push us as fast as possible, and not, I don't know, it was less for the union than it was for...
You had to join the union to get in this program, I take it.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think that, Indiana has not been a very union-friendly state despite all the manufacturing we have here. Mm-hmm. Do you think there's a future for unions?
I think especially in the northern Indiana spot right now, intake that we're about to have is going to be huge. You know, where we brought on, like when I got signed on, it was probably 30, 40 other people that were getting initiated into the union. And it's just different jobs, you know, they're all coming along and, you know, building places in Indiana. And all of these places need work where we just can't get them. So we'll either bring in people from different unions, or, you know, we'd want to get people to join, but, you know, that's an effort for, you know, people to see it and to get out here.
You know, you hear it all the time. Like a friend of mine, Larry Hayes, has a construction business with his brother, and they're very loyal to union labor. That's all he uses. But he was just telling me a few weeks ago that it's hard to compete because there are so many non-union shops that bid on his projects.
Yeah, no, and it, for like jobs like this, I don't know what type of, you know, things that he's doing.
Well, his last big project I'm aware of was the bank building at Jefferson and Dixon.
Okay, yeah. See, I'm trying to think of that place.
It's on the southeast corner.
And a lot of those, you know, I don't want to say a smaller job, but a lot of the jobs that these union people are being put on are huge. It's like the battery plant going up in Kokomo. It's going to be a big factory. Or the place that I'm in is in Lafayette. We're building like a big school. Like they probably could, you know, well, they could, yes, they could hire non-union, but it's almost sort of a trust thing. Like when I'm at jobs in Purdue, they will only hire union because they know that these people are going to get it done right, and they're going to do it a specific way, the way that we tell them. And non-union, you can go to that and you can, you know, get these things, but it's almost as if they're a union of their own where they're teaching them to do things a specific way, you know.
Kokomo's always had a pretty strong middle class for the whole time I've lived around here, largely because we have such a huge union presence, I think. But, and I've heard your mother talk about this, the fact that, you know, corporate earnings have tended to chip away at salaries and income, and that the middle class is disappearing. Is the union, does it offer any salvation there?
I mean, I think it's, you know, if somebody wants to be middle class, then, not once, but if somebody, I think that unions are very good for the middle class. We've been trying to up our wages. We've been trying to fight for, you know, it's very much fighting for the workers that, you know, are in it. That's the whole part of what a union is. It's not about the big guys up top. It's all about making a lot of the people that are here equals, you know, and have the same opportunities that, you know, somebody with more money or more say might have. But yes, if somebody were to take a union route, then I think it's very, very good for the middle class, because it's not going to be chipping away at any of these things that you're talking about. If anything, it's going to be building towards.
What would you say to somebody just graduating from high school and not really know whether they wanted the college path?
I honestly think that you should 100% weigh your options, you know, and for me, it was good because I had those summer jobs. Like, I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do, but, you know, maybe for some people, like a leap year, you know, that always sounded good to me, where you just kind of take a year to try and find what you want to do. But even then, you know, like, what what's a year going to change? It's hard with a college path, you know, because you almost feel as if you're set in stone to a certain path that you're choosing. You know, if you do choose college, I 100% recommend, you know, taking the general education classes, because so many people within the first semester, second semester, they completely change, you know, the idea of what they thought they wanted to do, and they need to change so many classes, so many things. And, you know, some people, they will get out on a job, you know, not even college, and they'll be like, man, you know, I hate working. And it's a whole thing. You have to have a right mindset. You have to know what you enjoy to do and have it be able to make you money to be happy. Because that, you know, that's
Mike, let me ask you this, because we were talking with somebody else a few weeks ago about the military option. Why don't more young people? Well, you know, I looked through the list of graduates that's in the newspaper in the last few weeks, and I'm surprised that more people aren't choosing the military.
Well, I mean,
especially these young people that you talk about who graduate from high school and they're not really sure what they want to do. And you know, take a leap year. There's 4 leap years if you want them.
And I don't know who this is to blame on, but like, if you go into the military, it's almost like college. You know, you're signed on for how many years, and then you get out, and you know, you can say, yeah, I was in the military, and you know, and that can get you so many jobs. You know, like whatever you were doing, you know, it could get you a couple things, but who knows if that's actually able to find you something to do with your life. You know, I kind of think that there needs to be better options for veterans, you know, once they get out of the military, to be able to find better options, or to get care to be able to not, you know, be homeless and stuff like that.
You know, I think veterans have gotten a bad rap. There are a few homeless veterans. There's homeless people everywhere. Homelessness is going to be something that we're just going to have to deal with across society. It's not really a veterans issue. Most of the veterans I know are well adjusted.
Do you think do you think it'd be hard for somebody to go in with a resume that just says, like, you know, military though?
I'd like to, well, when I started my police career, a lot of police departments gave applicants a veteran's preference. You got an automatic 5-10 points on your test score if you had military experience, because I hope a lot of employers today, and there's not as many veterans running businesses anymore, but when there were, veterans would recognize that somebody who'd had some military service, and probably if they stayed in 4 years, gained some experience in supervision, probably learned, if not mastered, some trade which may or may not be useful in the civilian world, but could probably transfer over. Like, you know, a jet engine mechanic understands fundamentals of mechanics, whether he's working on a Volkswagen or a A37. But whether or not people today see military service as a value, I don't know. I think that's one of the sad things about it is, you know, when you turn in an application, you don't see the person anymore. You just see a piece of paper. That's wild.
It's all online.
I don't know. I can't imagine how that even works.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, as a veteran, that'd be even harder, you know, submitting something, you know, and like you said, if they got, you know, some advanced training, you know, they'd be looking at that like, why don't they have a college degree instead, you know? Or, you know, why they don't have as many options, definitely. You know, and not everyone wants to be a police officer.
Well, the other thing about, you mentioned college, and that makes me think of the people talk about the high cost of college, and being a veteran, they'll help you pay for that. I mean, there's a number of programs available to provide advanced education to people in the military.
Yeah, and you'll get like sent out afterwards or have to go for X amount of time.
Yeah, well, like Teresa, my wife's, your grandmother's nephew, went to Butler for a year. His first freshman year, he paid his full dues, tuition, room and board for the first semester, and then he got in the ROTC program. They were so pleased with his performance that they picked up the tab for the rest of his 3.5 years at Butler.
Right.
He got a commission, and he was assigned to some fort down in Kentucky as a air artillery officer. These are the guys that shoot down things that are being shot at you, I guess. And he's in Iraq now, which he got over there just before everything started heating up, and I think he's supposed to come home next month. But ironically, he graduated from college, he gets married, and then like 4 months later, he's in Iraq.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it was, but he wanted, he's committed. So what do you want to do?
He's got his goals set, it looks like, man.
Yeah, anyway, well, I appreciate you talking to us about you.
No, yeah.
Trades, unions. I agree, by the way, that your mom and I were talking a few weeks ago about capitalism and trickle-down economics, and I'm not sure she agreed with me, but I think it was a good idea at the time, but it's just been, trickle-down economics has just been pirated by capitalism. I mean, they've taken advantage of the system to the point where these salaries that people are making, and even, you know, it's just ridiculous compared to the troops, boots on the ground guys.
And yeah, we learned about this in my class, you know, before the unions, you know, the people that were making the cars in Indiana and places like that, they'd be getting paid, you know, nothing. You know, they could, I think one of it, they did the math, like they could not, you know, afford a family at all. They could not even like buy one of the cars that they would make in a year from the salary that they'd gotten, just because it was pennies on the dollar. And
well, you know, a few years ago, on a related note, the state legislature provided for policemen and firemen who can live outside the county where they serve. And the reason for that was that so many policemen and firemen in Carmel could not afford to live there. Now, how sad is that?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Anyway,
not paying people enough to live in the places they work for.
Well, it's ridiculous that someone with a strong work ethic has to work 2 and 3 jobs just to get by. And I know, I hear it from, I've heard the argument, those are just starting level jobs. You know, you're expected to work at McDonald's for a couple years and go on. But let's face it, we need people working at McDonald's, I guess, right now. And if you're going to have that, you better pay them.
Yeah, and I mean, if you live in paycheck to paycheck, have to work 2 jobs, what time do you have to, you know, better yourself to go out and, you know,
you're right.
Get a better job.
It's a treadmill. Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm glad you found a niche, and I'll give you a little preview. Grant's gonna, since he's out here visiting his grandpa, he's gonna sit here in the shop for a few more minutes, so he'll be back next week for more fun and excitement.
All right.
And yeah, right. Until then, God bless you, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day. Yeah.